What's good, people? I wanted to take this time to speak about Jacob's Ladder because it's a lot of shit out there, but I think this is a time sensitive matter. You know what I'm saying? Let me get this fucking fire on out of here. All right, I got notes with me. I got books with me. We got a better quality camera. We're gonna talk about Jacob's Ladder, the fucking killer Canzaros, and the true meaning of Christmas. Alright, so right now, at this current time, niggas is going crazy because Jacob Ladder just dropped with Homeboy from Barbershop. I'm not exactly going to be talking about that one. Even though the principles underneath it is still the same, we are going to actually be talking about the original one, 1990, which had a much better they verbalize like what anxiety is and people with mental condition is, and ultimately what we're getting into with the movie. Spoiler alert: Kundalini Awakening. Pull that up for Obatala real quick. You know what I'm saying? So, alright, so I'm gonna walk through the movie. We're gonna try to keep this shit on track. So, movie starts off, niggas at war, yada yada, convulsions, yada yada, everybody start freaking out. Birth being the war, like we come into this world in a state of war and violence, you know what I mean? So anyway, he wakes up in a subway. Now anytime that you see a subway, railroad, you're dealing with the Papa Legba, you're dealing with the Crossroads Spirits, Papa Gere, different luau's. And I say that because we're going to go back to that point as well. But there's always this hobo bum at the crossroads. There's always this man in a black suit at the crossroads. And we see that this blind man on the bus, on the subway, after he wakes up in the station and yada yada. So, he's working as a postal clerk, messenger, yada yada. Old girl named Jezebel. His son, he keeps saying his son, Gab. And really, like, even just mentioning his son Gab, he's talking about Gabe. So what we're dealing with this movie, let's just crack this open and then we could go back over points. What we're dealing with this movie is the Kundalini Awakening and what people experience typically when they're going through a abrupt Kundalini Awakening. When you are awakening your Kundalini, you may experience like violent kind of reactions if it is overwhelming your system. That's just purging all the weak shit out. A lot of us have so much shit that we have built up in our programming, and you literally have to rewire your mind sometimes. But also, the whole head shakes and everything. That's symbolizing points where he's moving through vibrational fields in the film. As well as like his homegirl, Jezebel, who is Jezebel. But you notice like she's like, is anybody home? And she like rubs his spine down and descends the energy and everything. So, but another thing is we're dealing with the root chakra. Now, one of the things that came to me these last couple of days after the movie dropped, I watched the old one, I watched the new one, were these motherfucking killer Cazaros. And if you haven't noticed yet, no, I am not a fucking Christian, and this is not just a regular fucking movie breakdown. We're doing a scientific joint. So we're going to be talking about some very, very extreme points for some of y'all. So if y'all would like to please get out the building, please get off the bus right now. You know what I mean? So, I want to talk about the killer Cazaros. Kali Cazaros, my bad. Kali Cazaros. I want to talk about the Kali Cazaros. Because in the film, he's being pursued by these spirits that just seem to be trying to just aggravate him. In actuality, these spirits are trying to wake him up. Now, what I came across, and and it, like I said, time sensitive situation is the Kali Kazaros. To do a little backstory on it, I've been dealing with the occult for about the last 3 to 4 years now. I've had direct contact with these morning babies on around Valentine's Day, and when I made an altar for them and gave it up to them, they bought like this like crying motherfucker through, and basically it was like a El Llorona. It was a the weeping woman, lady in white and everything. So then it's the morning mother. So I went through this whole thing with Momo and tying Momo in, and El Llorona telling me, oh, that's me, and then finding out that Mormo is based off of the statue, the image that they use for Mormo is based off of the Edamu or something. That's not the point. Well, you could look into it yourself if that's not the point of this. Just giving some backstory. The Edamu, yada yada. And basically these are like yokais or Japanese spirits who have passed and they're still mourning their child. So the history checks out. When a spirit tells you something, hold on, y'all gotta get deaf. Don't mind that. Everything else is fake. You just gotta put it up for deaf one time. All right. So anyway, so it's the spirit of mourning the child, so mourning a loss of innocence, but believing something can be taken from you is ultimately what's gonna trap you down here. So Jacob felt like he lost something, so he's stuck going up and down. Essentially, he's just stuck in place. When he gets off the railroad, all of the things are chained shut. That path that he was taking is no longer available to him now. He done went to his awakening. He saw the motherfucker with the tail. And that's also telling you that we're dealing with the root chakra here. Because, alright, now, if motherfuckers get a little bit of literature in their life, probably be good for them. These things, so when you are going through your Kundalini awakening and you are moving, you notice that every time you're trying to do better, motherfuckers want to test you, right? So what's happening here? There are spirits that are coming forth, or, subconscious programs in the matrix. We call them agents. Except people's face don't change. They just take over their body. The face don't change. And we're going to get into more science on that as well. But what happens is they are trying to lock down your systems because you coming awake is destroying the world. And that's the purpose of the work, to destroy the world. So basically, and I say that because this world is a condemned place. I mean, if you look at what you have to go through every day. I mean, you have to kill every time you want to eat, even if it's a plant. The plant screams also. You come in crying and covered in blood. That should be a red flag like a motherfucker. Disease, all of the upkeep you got to do just to maintain your human life. Like, this place, I mean, like, the Romans called day, you know what I'm saying? Look it up for your damn self. But the Romans refer to day as they personify day and the goddess Die. The female version is Herma or whatever, who enters Tartarus as Nyx is leaving and leaves Tartarus as Nyx is entering. So day and night is passing through Tartarus. Tartarus is where they trap the Titans. Titans represent primordial forces. And if we are a part of this all you niggas like to believe in and everything, and then you have to understand that the Titans are the closest thing to that all. They were the conceptualizations, and then the gods were the personifications, and then angels and demons are angles. The angels are the angles of light. The demons are the angles of night, but they still both come from Devi or Diva, which means divine. So these are divine things. Anyway, so 12 dies of Christmas, 12 days of Christmas, but you also have that with Hercules and, basically killing these 12 labors because he represents the sun as well. So it's hell down here. Tartarus, we are the Titans locked down. Motherfuckers gotta go get with it. So they're trying to maintain you into what's happening here is they're trying to lock down your systems so that you don't wake up and realize that your true gifts like the fucking church said, all on the other side, but not in the way that they're telling you. You got to get yours down here because you have to echo it up there. And you have to work on what's going on beyond this realm in order to manipulate this realm to get that biofeedback going on. So, how do they lock you down? With your chakras. What is the easiest chakra these days to get in touch with? The sacral. But what this film is showing you is primarily locking down your systems. They're showing you how they lock down your systems through methods of the root. So I got this book, very cheap book, very easy to get book, Chakras, the Energy Centers of Transformation. Chakras, the Energy Centers of Transformation. It's a pretty reflective one too, huh? But anyway, so the root chakra, also called Muladhara, or whatever. So money. But so this one is accompanied by. Give me a second, because I'm gonna pull up what it deals with, and then we're gonna get down into the temptations and everything that accompany it. So when you get one of these type of books, one of the things that you can do is you pop open to the back, come to find out, and you could go to the little, what is it, the index. Yeah, we finna go through the index and see what it's at right here. 52. So then I go to the index. I see it's on page 52 that they starting to get into some of that. So the mandala chakra represents the manifestation of the individual conscious into the human form that is physical birth. So maintaining your physical systems, basically. And what is the first thing we see is him die. So that's instilling the fear of death. The moment we come into life, we have that fear of death. He wakes up on the train. Terrible fucking nightmare. But guess what? You know what I'm saying? So when you come into this life, though, you're dead. This is death. This is the closest we could get to death. Sleep is the cousin of death. So what is it when you're awake? I mean, like, you have to stop thinking like that it starts and ends here. You have to start seeing further past that. So, let me check out where some of these joints. I should have highlighted this joint before I came on. The main problem of the child or adult acting from the first manifestation is violent behavior based on insecurity. A fearful person may strike out blindly and senselessly like a cornered animal, and that's basically where they were pushing him to act from during the film. They want you to act from that spot. So when he would make one transition and he sees his wife or whatever, and then he starts to cry, suddenly Jezebel's walking out the room, and then he's like, what are you doing here? And who are you? And then before he could really like stand on it, the phone rings. Oh, we're gonna go challenge the system. Okay, I'm gonna go do that. And then he just bleeps out. Go watch the 1991 and you'll realize he just bleeps out when another thing of trauma happens. It's like a clear sign that something's not right and something should, but he's in such a place of personal disbelief and insecurity and his own sanity that when another point of trauma comes, he doesn't get time to deal with that. He just has to move on. They keep traumatizing you in order to lock you down so that you don't face the undertones of what's really going on here. I just saw my wife a second ago. Why am I seeing you now? He doesn't get that. Because he doesn't have that level of self-evaluation. He's still running from the trauma. He's still avoiding the trauma. I mean, I don't know if they really talk about it. He has 2 other kids in the film. Where are they? Like, he just gone. So that's telling you there's people he ran away from. There are these people he ran away from. Yeah, so let's go over some of this. Represents the manifestation of the individual consciousness. Went over that joint. Survival. Okay, so normally a child from the ages 1 to 7 act out of the first chakra motivation. The earth is grasped as a new experience. The infant must ground himself and establish the laws of the world, learning to regulate patterns of eating, drinking, sleeping, proper behavior necessary for securing his worldly identity. So worldly identity, eating, drinking, sleeping, um, uh, self-centered, highly concerned with physical survival. This is when it's out of balance. So when you're dealing with trauma, but you're not resolving your trauma, you are still put into these parallels. So certain animal. Okay, so a fearful person may strike out, yada yada. The person dominated by the Muladhara chakra, the Muladhara chakra, generally sleeps between 10 to 12 hours nightly on his stomach. So if you motherfuckers sleeping on their stomach, bro, it might be prioritized with keeping your ass down here. Anyway, accompanies the planes of this chakra accompanies the planes of Genesis, beginnings, illusions, which we were dealing with that film. You're dealing with a lot of illusions and everything. Anger, greed, delusions, avarice, sensuality, and then we see how through sexuality they're locked down. So as his Kundalini awakening is going on, and we're gonna get back into this as well. But while we here, right? So while his Kundalini, whatever, I'm telling y'all gotta get death in there, like, you know what I mean? Like the two, death is the only polarity. You see the two serpents. Death is like the only polarity. Like death is the middle pillar. My bad. Everything else is a pole, left or right. Anyway, so like in the club, right? In the club, he sees the girl like a demon coming over. That's because he's also being able to use his psychic abilities, but he hasn't meant this trauma before he came to, or even his body burning up and has to cool down. When you're going through your Kundalini awakening, you're going to be dealing with a lot of fire as well. And we're going to get back to these Kalikasaros. But the interesting thing about this book is it circles around the different, it circles around the different chakras and gives you more information, like in layers. So I really like this book. But let's see, from really young aspects, food and shelter, base of the spine, first vertebrae. So anyway, they're locking you down here. Now, we're getting into the chakras because we're also talking about the fact that Jacob's Ladder is your spine. The whole movie, his homeboy is working on his spine. His homeboy is working on his spine, putting his disc in order. He had a slip disc at one point. Your 7 discs are aligned with your spine. You move up and down that ladder. If one is out of balance, you not okay, like a bow-legged ass ladder is not gonna work the same. You want to make sure that you are functioning equally in each sphere, that they are balanced. This is a constant battle as we're continually drawn to temptations of the world. That being said, the other reflection of Jacob's Ladder represents it can be easily seen in the world tree. I think this is the best time to start talking about the Kali Kazaros. Y'all bear with me. This is my first movie breakdown and shit, so bear with me. But okay, so the Kali Kazaros, it's these little crazy motherfuckers partying at the bottom of a tree. I'm gonna try to pull up a picture for y'all real quick. Motherfucking Kali Kazarian. I still don't know, like, I still gotta get that pronunciation right. But that shit do say Kali like a motherfucker. Alright. So I hope y'all could see that. But it's these motherfuckers partying while they're cutting down the world tree. So they're sitting at the bottom of the world tree, cutting the shit down, just partying. Because they're taking pride. They're taking a great pride in what they're doing. Clearly they're excited to be fucking with humans. So what happens is when Christmas comes, suddenly they say, yo, like, all right, let's run up and start fucking with the mortals instead of just cutting down a tree and just being done with them. No, they run up and fuck with the mortals. Now when they come up and they fuck with all the mortals, what happens is they jump on their backs and they start clawing at them and telling them to carry them everywhere that they want to be carried to. And in addition to that, they also will, you know, stop a person on the street and ask some random questions and shit. And in addition to that, they also just, you know, cause a little bit of mayhem. So what's going on? Well, as we're looking at this particular time, and we're a couple days past Christmas now, gonna have to be honest about that. We're still within the 12 days of Christmas, as they say, a fortnight. What Jezebel said, I've been dealing with this bullshit for 2 weeks now. So anyway, these things are ultimately your impulses coming forth. That's why they contacted me at this time. And then as I came to that realization, I matched it with the actual literature. I matched it with some scholarship and bought the shit down. So the Kali Kazaros, just looking at the name, you get Kali. Kali is the black-faced goddess, destroyer time. She is also Shakti. Shakti does represent the world, but Shakti represents the cosmic primordial forces. I got some notes. Power, effort, energy, capability. Primordial cosmic energy, representing the dynamic forces that are thought to move throughout the universe. So these things are moving out throughout the universe because they're at the root of the tree. Then they come to our place, but they're down cutting at the bottom of the tree. Now, another thing I thought that was interesting, if you're familiar with Norse mythology, you also see the snake at the bottom of the tree called Nidhogg, and he's just basically chewing at the bottom of the tree, which is another interesting thing because the tree is also seen as a symbol of the human body. When you match it with the clip off the tree of life, and then you have the clip off the dark side of the tree where all of the true power and secret lies. So these Kali Kazaros, they're dealing with the dark side of the tree because Kali is black, which means it's also inward. It's dealing with the inwards, and then it's at the roots of the tree. We come forth from mother, and mother is thought to be Mother Nature or Mother Earth. We come out of her. So where would we come? We niggas always talk about their roots. Honor your roots. Like, we come from within to out, not without to in. But we think that because we eat like that, so we think, oh, out to in. So the second part of their name, that's the first part, Kali. So they're representing these primordial chaotic forces, and that are on the tree. And the tree is life. And they're moving up and down this tree. So that also tells you they're tricksters, like in the Norse thing, the Rada Shaki or whatever, like that little squirrel motherfucker. So, but if they're Kali, then that was a hint that pulls you to the fact that it's Kundalini, because Shakti also represents the Kundalini force. And then the serpent at the bottom of the tree nibbling away at it. And these little black motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? So then the second part of the name, Kali can't being acquired. Soros, which means trunk. Well, can't also means like digging, identify, or gathering. Make known. So to make known. Zoros represents the trunk. But it also means glitter, shine, and heat. Kundalini is thought to be this heat. That's why folks' body was burning up and shit, because his Kundalini was coming online and his psychic energies was coming online. So he was able to just summon people and move through time. You're not going to take your body through time, but you're able to move through time. So basically, like, one way of looking at its name is, because it also could mean pressure. It can also mean pressure. So you get this whole thing of pressure at the root, because Zoros can also correlate with Barrows, which is burden, weight, trouble, pressure. So there's this pressure at the root. There's this pressure at your root. These issues to challenge if you're really coming online. And I say that because as we're looking on this time, this video is up December 30th. As we're looking at this time, it is still within the 12 days of Christmas. And what is Christmas? Christ's Mass, the Mass of Christ consciousness. So everybody is receiving gifts. Your gift is not the physical gift, but they use that to create a hunger. So every time you go into the store, you thinking, what am I going to get? What am I going to get? What am I going to get? You are prioritizing your mind with someone else giving you physical property, and that being called a blessing, or that being called your present is what somebody else gave you. That's your presence, your present. So it's a manipulation of the mind in that fashion, because what the subconscious mind does is it makes all of these mass connections, and it goes with where you are now to produce a message of what you need to know. And that's what these little motherfuckers are doing when they're jumping on your back like Set, like Soot, like Apep, just like Nidhogg. So these are like also, because then also, you know, folks is in the tunnels. He going through the tunnels and whatnot. And if you got the origins of occult civilization, Panic talks about on page 227, we start going into Set right about this part. Oh, bookmark came in handy, huh? So but the 22 tunnels of Set is in here, and Set, Soot, Black, so the subconscious, so the shadow part, because they condemn the darkness. But as we're coming into science being multidimensional and everything, now they have to incorporate the shadow. People used to clown Jung, who also talked about the shadow. People used to clown Jung, but Jung felt as though Freud, who is like the godfather fucking of modern psychology the most, he felt like, well, there wasn't a place that really addressed hell and the underworld and all of these things. It's got to be more than, oh, you just want to fuck your mom and that's why you got a problem, and you smoke cigarettes because you really want to just suck dick. Like, that was Freud. Jung had a lot of work on the unconscious mind. So when Jung addresses the shadow, it's the part of yourself that you repress and put away. Just like if you look at the movie Us, because what's going on in this film is, if you don't go and deal with your problems, just like Black Swan, your problem's going to come and get you. And then Shorty had the cuss on her back too. That's them Kali Kazaros jumping on like, carry me. Like, no, but if you don't go deal with your problems going to come and get you. You saw how on the movie Us, bro went out the house and he's like, I'm gonna need you to get off my property. And like, he trying to talk tough, he trying to talk hood. He's basically projecting what he feels he should be in that situation. And then that nigga walk up on him like everything he was pretending to be. You know what I'm saying? So your shadow self, Black Swan's a good movie too that deals with it, but your shadow self is the repressed aspects of who you are that can't be cut away. And who you are consciously now is who you have been socially programmed to be by your parents, by anybody that like you ever thought they were something, and the constant media jumping down your throat telling you like this is success. And then, you know, I've been seeing so many 30 and 40-year-old niggas just dyeing their hair, getting braids and dyeing their hair, and then ultimately cutting it and going blonde now. Like, this shit it has to stop. We have to cut down the tree. But the problem with these Killer Kazaro motherfuckers is they come back up because they're blind. They're just children of Kali, essentially. But the 22 Sonos are set. These are the pathways on the tree. So these are how they navigate. Because they're also children of Set, so they know the secrets. Cop this book though. Maybe I should actually share a panel from here. We talk about the separation of God into so the 5 pieces, your fragmented consciousness. I could share this piece real quick because I got it highlighted. I really wanted to go over what he was talking about with the tunnels, but I think I'm in a different section right now. So it becomes clear when you factor in 5 to 72, you can make another connection, all seeing eye, 5 points of man, the pentagram. When you look at the Toro deck, the pentagram. Okay, my memory card's starting to die out. We're going to take a second, and I'm going to switch the cards out real quick, and then we're going to go back on air. So, let's just get to these points. I ain't got that many memory cards on deck. So, we're in the 12 days of Christmas. These Killer Kazaros are popping up. They're challenging us right now. to see if you really are about it, because the universe is also going to test your chin to see if it's made out of glass and put you on your ass. So what's going on is also, if you watch the film, every time he makes a moment where he's having a breakthrough, something bad happens, because it's also trying to test to see if he's really committed to his rightful decision, because ultimately it's your mind that is going to make the final decision, regardless of the timeline that you're in or the lifetimes that you're in. It is ultimately the cultivation of your mind that's going to dictate your blessings. So we are in this whole Christmas time, the 12 days of Christmas, which is Christ's Mass, and everybody's receiving their gifts. So right now everybody's getting their chin tested for them gifts. A lot of people think this shit is just Jesus, but it's not. We can make that very simple. Bethlehem, I got my notes right here. Bethlehem means house of meat in Hebrew, and also means house of bread. But if you go to church, then it's easy for you to know that bread is the body of Christ, right? So the Christ exists in you. You are supposed to be your own Messiah. Now these things also jump on your back. They exist in here because the loas and shit and all that voodoo and whatever. So the loas and everything, they mount a person, and that means possess a person, and then the person they possess is called a horse. So they jump on you and make you go take them wherever they want to go. Now another thing that the Kalikazaros are associated with are centaurs. So they're representing, like the secret of the Sphinx is to have mastery over your animal principles. That's why it's a human head on a lion body. So the centaurs represent having mastery over their lower natures, still having the impulses, but still having the mastery. That's why they got the bow and arrow. They're able to hit their mark. They're able to remove themselves. So now I shared that information with El Jordan and anything because that's been coming back. We got Grudge January 3rd is coming out. Why is the Grudge coming out January 3rd? It's still within the 12 days of Christmas because it goes from December 25th, and we're speeding things up because the nigga only got like 40 more minutes on his memory card, and that's a lot of points to get over. 12 days of Christmas, right? 12 days of Christmas, the 12 dies, just like the 12 labors, the 12 trials, yada yada, the zodiacs essentially, because Di Hermana is associated with the ethers, the upper sky, and that is where you find the stars, right? So Bethlehem is where Jesus was born. Now, we're not talking about Jesus, it's Christ. Christ was born into the body of man. They moved from Nazareth. Nazareth, I don't even think, okay, branches, shoots, like a fallen tree. Now, I just said, you are the tree. Your body is represented by a tree. So they're saying the Christ consciousness moving from one life, one body, one incarnation to another incarnation. So in this time, it's coming back. So the gateway is open as well because all of these spirits are around, but they're all coming into, birthing and everything. So Bethlehem, right? To the father, I think his name was Joseph, and whose name is He Will Add. They got a Grudge commercial going on right now as I'm talking about this. But Virgin Mary was his mother. Now Mary means bitterness, and when you look at the Grudge, you see El Llorona. And El Llorona's name was Maria. Maria means sea of bitterness. So, and like the Grudge joint just said too, when a person dies in a fit of rage, it creates a curse. And a curse is something self-imposed on yourself. You see how it's written, you get it all twisted. Like, you know what I mean? So Virgin Mary, so she is actually absent of bitterness. So the Christ coming through the womb, absent of bitterness, Virgin Mary. So virgin of bitterness. So she abstains from bitterness in worldly ways. So, you move from one body, Nazareth, to another body, house of meat, Bethlehem, house of bread being the body of Christ. The Virgin Mary, from the Virgin Mary, the one born without bitterness, born without that remorse or vengefulness. Then the only real so then the black cross represents the cross represents the spirit. So it was bound to the spirit. Christ was bound to the spirit, the mind. So anyway, this is Christmas. This is what Christmas really is, Christmas. And then on January 6th, they said we have the Epiphany, when God takes the form of when God takes human form in the form of Jesus Christ or whatever. They call it the Epiphany. Now, that's you bringing your level up to grab hold of all of these conscious functions. So these little motherfuckers are also going to test you and make sure you don't hit that point. What's going to happen? They're going to lock you down in your sacral chakra. Your sacral chakra is like your hunger, your sexuality, and because root chakra is more sexuality in the sake of reproduction in that concept of survival. But the sacral deals with it in the sake of personal pleasure, because the sacral is the point where you're identifying with yourself. But that's also where the Kundalini energy rests. I really don't want to have to go through these like joints. I did not bookmark none of this. I just figured like I knew these are points I'm gonna have to get across. So we also have this myths and gods of India. You could also get encyclopedia gods. I'm gonna go back to the joint. We're gonna try to find Kundalini real quick because we're talking about Kundalini awakenings. I know I hit y'all with some extra work because niggas do want their movie breakdowns and everything. So what about the subway? 22 tunnels of set. Dude on the train was a crossroads spirit telling them like, okay, now these are crossroads spirits because they're gonna tempt you and they're gonna challenge you, or they're gonna like scare you because they're telling you it's time for you to make a decision. You are at a fork in the road. You are at a crossroads. It is time to make a decision. You can't just sit still no more. That's what these things pop up for. The nigga called his son Geb. Geb in the Egyptian shit is Earth. So he's saying that he keeps mourning Earth, letting go of Earth. He keeps mourning, letting go of Earth, and he ultimately goes back into the light to be reincarnated. So he goes from Nazareth to Bethlehem. So there is that as well. But, you know, this time he resolved his issue or whatever. So he is born again. But now he's not born with bitterness. So he's born from the virgin. So, you know, good for him. He still fucking came back here, though. Like I said, we want to destroy this place. Regular doctor, so the doctor thing, Jezebel was there. I mean, they said he was already dead. One of the most important parts of the movie is Urquhart saw hell too. He said, the only thing that burns in hell is the part of you that won't let go of life. Your memories, your attachments. They burn them all away. But they're not punishing you. They're freeing your soul. So if you're frightened of dying and you're holding on, you'll see devils tearing your life away. But if you made peace, then the devils are really angels freeing you from the earth. Now, you could take dying and replace it with change, because death is really just the middle pillar of change. Man, that's blurry up close. Death is really just a middle pillar for change. So, Jacob, okay, so dealing with this ladder, going through the ascension, because ultimately you want to cultivate the Kundalini to the Christ consciousness. So at the end of the movie, you see him ascend. So he does bring it up in that symbolism as well. Michael was the fucking chemist, Archangel Michael, the guardian, the one who is there to ensure that you're gonna do good, but also that nigga, he a troublemaker too. Them little devils, they are just trying to wake you up, and killer Kazaros. So what happens is, on the Epiphany, January 6th, these Kali Kazaros, they go back down to the bottom of the tree and keep cutting. Now, they can't count to 3. If they count to 3, they die. That's for whatever reason. They say it's a holy number that counts to 3, they die. They don't tell you how the Kali Kazaros come to our world. They come through the world climbing a tree, your body, the internal, and they hop on the back like Set and Horus. Like if you could pull up a picture of Set Horus, and it's like or Set Ra, and Set's rest on the back of the mind, the subconscious coming to life right now, because these things are tempting you. So I'm looking for Kundalini. Just went over a few movie points. Because it's more so the symbology. You could tell they're dealing with vibrations the way they're moving. They're dealing with vibrations. This is a vibratory thing. So you're dealing with all of your... Another thing is when you're dealing with Kundalini, your past life traumas are going to come forth. And then there was one point where he had a flash after dude like twisted his neck a certain way to clear that shit up. And basically what that was doing is your body is also carrying its own personal trauma too that we have to relieve, and that's why we do stretching and exercising and just get up, get out, and get something valuable to you. Kundalini, folks. There we go. Telling you, man. Yeah, the index. So you hit that index real quick. 217. 217. Yeah, we gonna go to 217 real quick. Man, I wish I could go over all of the points, but I ain't got my joint with me. So we're dealing with the serpent. Shiva carries a serpent around his neck. Shiva. It represents the dormant. Okay. So, I talked about Nidhogg and their relationship with Nidhogg and the serpent that rests coiled at your sacral, or the serpent that rests at the bottom of the world tree, because you are the world is the word. But the meaning attached to the serpent is represents the basic dormant energy akin to the sexual power, which is coiled at the base of the spinal cord, which is the support of the yogi in the attempt to conquer the higher worlds during his inward journey. So you're using your kundalini. He needed that kundalini awakening and all that traumatic shit for him to finally reconcile with his son. And then they're gonna want you to go into states of amnesia. That's also why she was burning the pictures, because they're gonna try to lock you down through states of amnesia. And when I say they, I mean you, the you that's projecting them out into the world, so that you don't have to deal with your problems. And who's gonna win? The black wolf or the white wolf, whichever one you feed the most. So, okay, so in the conquer of the higher worlds, this energy source of all spiritual conquest is Kundalini, the coiled. The serpent power. So, okay, yeah. This book is pretty cool because it gives you who was it written by? People care about that. Like Alan Daniel Lowell. Okay. Well, it also just gives you like a lot of what the symbolism means in the Eastern Indian cultures and everything, and it comes with a lot of cool little pictures but yeah, so Kundalini is your primordial energy. We're dealing with primordial things, so it's not going to be fun and friendly and nice because ways of order take too fucking long. You see how long the justice system takes. You want to be subject to that justice? That justice is still sentenced to divine justice, which is Nemesis, which is the black-faced goddess. Oh, wait, that's Kali. Kali and Nemesis. Yeah, so justice is intertwined with these things. These things are on your ass to wake you up. The boogeyman is only coming to make sure that you are asleep. Oh, you're not asleep. You must want to have a party. Let's have a party. Let's chase your ass 37 blocks. Even like kids on the hill, like the old story, because I think Cuco means hook, if I'm not mistaken. I know it means hood, but I also think it means hook, Cuco. Which is like another Spanish fucking thing. Big surprise. But Cuco means hook. And basically like this dude, like these kids, they go up to this perfect, beautiful spot on the hill, and then this motherfucker with a hook just comes and like kills them. What is that telling you? That's telling you at all of the times of your fun-loving days and all of that, there is still something that's gonna come and fuck shit up. And you have to be wise enough and prepared enough to face these things, or you have to just be subject to them and be ran over and beat the fuck down by them. So how do we get rid of these damn Kalikazaros? What did Jacob do? You have to, now, one of the things that they talk about is burning your old shoes. But really what they're saying is letting go of what you are rooted by. Freeing yourself from your attachments and your possession and your need to live, because ultimately, what is life, especially if you get another one? Because I know plenty of people who understand that they have lifetimes, and those are the ones I'm speaking to now. So another thing is Jacob ultimately had to let go. You have to let go. Now be mindful and be aware of the impulses that you're going through at this point in time as we approach the epiphany. But me personally, I'm going on a fast. Y'all could try me if y'all want. But I'm going on a fast leading to it so that I could, because I always receive more prophetic dreams and better messages when I do fast. You could journal so that you could actually see what direction your mind is going and then read it unattached. Don't journal down and go scoff at yourself, or journal down thinking someone is going to read it. Allow yourself to be free. Tap into the frequency of freedom and prosperity. You want to take yourself outside of the realms of judgment, because sin is actually guilt in one of these languages and shit. So I got that written down. You could look it up yourself. In some language, sin is referred to as guilt or missing your mark. So you want to be the Virgin Mary, right? But you know the Virgin Mary, she got down. I mean, she had a nigga and they had a kid, like, but she was absent of bitterness. Mary means bitterness, absent of bitterness, because when you die with bitterness in your heart is heavier than a feather. The feathers of Mayat, Nemesis, Kali, see how these things are all related and come back to just basically the same shit. If you die, just like the Grudge said, if a person dies in a fit of rage, a curse is born. The curse is coming back down here and being stuck here. All of these spirits are stuck between worlds. The Boogeyman, Candyman, Kuko, El Jorona, Momo, who I tied to Mormo, which is an ancient one, and Pusa, the wolf things that belong to Hecate, the Hooked Man, Slender Man, you know what I'm saying? Sick them on motherfuckers if you really got the juice, cause they coming to fuck with you, to see if you really are about what you say you about. Cause if you say you a king, a motherfucker gonna want to see your kingdom or whatever the fuck. So I would say you don't always have to abstain physically. You just have to not, like, practice mindfulness and practice entering a space without judgment. There can't really be judgment in mindfulness, because the moment you judge something, you put something out of your realm of acceptance. So you're not accepting the present for what it is. So don't hold yourself to the condemnations of thinking like, oh, well, I'm fucking up my diet again, or, oh, I'm out again. You are going to know deep down inside when you're guilty and when you're not. Listen to that. Practice listening to that and following that truth, because your world may shift just as fast as Jacob's. So that's a little thing we could do. I just wanted to share that because Christmas is still here. The 12 days of Christmas are still here. Those hungry spirits, like I talked about in my last video, are still here. And the only way we could really deal with these things is just being mindful and abstaining and exiting our attachment to the physical world. The body has passed through many times. I left a lot of points. This is a video. You could go back and study the words and everything. Please cop Brother Panic's book, The Occult Civilization. Check out some of his lectures too if you want to go further with those kind of concepts and everything. Remember the chakra book, get into some chakra work. A book like this is going to make you aware as to why you feel different impulses. It's also going to make you aware how people use color to manipulate your mind and put you on their grind so that you could work for their dollar and spend your time. You know what I'm saying? There's work to Yoon. Not everybody is fucking like going to be able to fucking go through Yoon and shit. Yeah, those are some of the books that I got on hand that I'm recommending and shit. Aside from that, motherfucker, you are your own Messiah. You are the only one who's gonna save you. There is no one coming to help you. And if they help you, they're gonna imprison you because you are gonna become dependent on them. So, practice your freedom. The returning of Christ is you stepping the fuck up and being present now in this fucking block of a world we live in with your being head ass. That being said, I'll probably leave comments open for questions since I couldn't get everything I wanted to into this video. 1.